Sorry, I'm sorry, I meant to say that. So it is now 2 p.m. and the uh, April 15th, 2025 meeting of the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission is called to order. So looking at the list to see if there's anybody who needs introduction, but very quickly, the people who are here besides myself are the executive director, who is Marcus Kawatachi, and we have who else is here? Help me. Let's see. I have such a terrible time with this. Okay. We have Sandy Yoshimura, who is adjudication administrative assistant. We have Heather McVeigh, who is the deputy executive director. We have Leanne Yamashiro, who is a deputy attorney general. We have Constance Yonashiro, which we're welcoming back after and so an absence.
Yeah.
And she is the HCRC chief counsel. And we have John Matsuoka, who is a commissioner for the Civil Rights Commission, and Arsima Muller, who is the another commissioner, the third commissioner, so that we do have a quorum. And if I missed anybody's name, I apologize. So the first item of business is to deal with the draft minutes of the previous two meetings. Oh, we have somebody else. Oh, this is Hiro Takei, who is another person from the Attorney General's office, if I'm not mistaken. And okay, so we have the minutes for the March 20th, 2025 and March 27th, 225 meetings. So we'll deal with the first one, March 20th, the oldest one. Are there any corrections? And I do have a correction, by the way, myself. So as I was looking at the minutes, one of the things that minutes are supposed to have is the time, the exact time of the call to order, which may have just been 2 o'clock in each case. So, but that should be noted on the minutes. It was called to order at 2 p.m. And then likewise, at the end of the minutes, it's supposed to say after adjournment, it's supposed to say the time that the meeting was adjourned. And if I remember correctly, in the case of the March 20th one, it was adjourned to meet, you have to say, all right, on March 27th, because it's an adjournment. So those should be added to the line on adjournment. They weren't, the 20th meeting was the beginning of a continued meeting. So unless there are any other corrections? If there are no further corrections, the minutes are approved as corrected. And then we go to the March 27th minutes, which were circulated. So similarly, are there any corrections? I will ask first, but in a similar manner, the meeting where it says call to order should say at 2 p.m. And or if it was 2:05 or something, but we're supposed to note the exact time. And then in this meeting there was an adjournment. And actually I have in my notes, and I could be wrong. Let's look at this, March 27th, that we adjourned at 2:45 p.m. Right. So
I'll trust you on that.
yeah, well, I wrote it down, so I'm assuming that that's correct. But we should in the future remember to put the time of adjournment, or what Robert's rules calls the hour of adjournment. But usually that means hour and minute, whatever. So with those corrections, are there any further corrections to the minutes of March 27th? And hearing no further corrections, those minutes are approved as corrected. So the next item of business is the executive director's report. So the chair recognizes our executive director, Marcus Kawatachi, for his report.
All right, let me share. Okay, first off, I'm sharing the mediation program year to date. And Chair, thank you for those corrections to the minutes. I will make those corrections and also in the future add the times as appropriate. So thank you for that. Okay, so with the mediation report, it was a remarkably uneventful month, at least in terms of recorded events. I know in the activity I'm seeing and speaking with the staff here that there are things going on. I just for some reason the recorded events were very minimal. So the really what we had was only one additional case go through the mediation process, and that one case did not result in a settlement. So you can see here the only addition was one additional non-agreement. So we have 4 of those non-agreement mediations for the fiscal year. And that's in comparison to 12 successfully mediated settlements. So 4 out of 16, or actually 12 successful settlements out of 16 is a very high percentage of 75%, which we are pleased with. And I'm assuming that as we close out the fiscal year, we'll end up at a pretty high percentage rate. And looks like high in comparison to previous years. So again, as that was the only one addition, the only thing I can note is that the one case that was unsuccessfully mediated was through the Mediation Center of the Pacific. And but even given that, the centers that have had mediations throughout this fiscal year have very high success rates. So Mediation Center of the Pacific, 66.7% settlement rate. Kuikahi Mediation Services in Hilo, 100%. And our own internal Civil Rights Commission mediator has settled 7 out of 9 or 77.8%. Again, overall, 75% success rate. I'm sure there'll be more entries to discuss next time around. I can move on to the caseload report unless there's any questions or comments on this one. Okay, not seeing anything from our commissioners, so let me move on. Oopsie. I have a bar in the way. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so this next report is for our caseload report. And so here, last time I reported a pretty dramatic increase in the overall size of our caseload. So it was last time it was 37 additional cases from the previous report. This time we've gone down just a little bit, and so it's 4 fewer cases than last time. So as of yesterday, we were at 382 open cases, which is still high, in comparison to past months. And you can see that there have been some closures of our more recently filed cases, but in the past month, we didn't have too many older cases that were closed out or resolved, which is something that we actually are focusing on doing. And last time I reported that a big reason for the additional numbers of cases include that we had some staff turnover. So we have some vacancies. And I'm happy to report that we are in the process of filling those vacancies, and we should be able to have a full or nearly full investigative staff, I would think, in the next few months. So that is a very good sign, as well as filling some other, vacant positions, such as office assistant positions. But it'll take some time for people to get trained up and to, participate in actually investigating and resolving cases. But in any event, I'm going to go further down here. So case aging remains a concern, and I do say that pretty much every time, but we really are trying to address that by uh, focusing on the oldest cases as well as keeping the newer cases moving. Um, in this bottom grouping here, um, it I made a note that I think I mean not too much change from last time, but I do see that there are a good number of additional cases in active investigation, meaning that they've gone from the response monitor stage where we're either gathering a response or waiting for an assignment or the pending assignment stage. And so we have we did put a number of additional cases in active investigations, which means they are being worked on currently. So that's positive. I will move further down. Um, okay, skipping over the fiscal year comparison, which would not change month to month. Finally, down to the year-to-date statistics. So our fiscal year will be ending at the end of June, so we are almost there. And so I can tell you that as I've been reporting in past meetings, the pre-complaints received are really increasing to the point where they are clearly at pre-pandemic levels. And you can see that, I guess if we look at that first column as being the start or the full-blown pandemic from July of 2020, the numbers of pre-complaint questionnaires did go down quite considerably, but started to increase year by year. And so we are back up to where we were pre-pandemic. And so likewise, we have had a large number of intakes done, so intakes decisions made. We're a bit low on the complaints filed as well as the investigations closed, again, due to our vacancies in our investigative staff. Um, so, and looks like a good number of notice of cause findings as well, which means that our legal staff are busy, pursuing cases for which there's evidence to show a violation. Okay, so that's the caseload report. Any questions from anyone here? Okay, if not, I'm going to stop sharing and uh,
Very good.
we can
Thank
move
you,
on. Thank
uh,
you.
Executive Director, for your report. And now I will recognize the Chief Counsel for the report of the Chief Counsel. So is Constance Yamashiro, are you?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be back. Nice to see all your faces. Today was actually my first day back, so I will defer any reports to the people who are handling uh, the legislation and proposed amendments in my absence. So I don't know, Heather, sorry to put you on the spot, but would you like to give a summary report on the proposed amendments that we've been working on?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you and welcome back. It's so good. We're all so happy to see you. So, regarding the rule amendments, we have done everything we can up to this point. And as far as I understand from our team here at DLIR who transmits that to the governor, it's on his desk and pending for their approval. And thanks to Sandy also for preparing the hard copies of those that have to be provided as well. So that's all been taken care of, and we're just waiting to hear back any updates from them on that. And I would suspect that as the legislature winds down, they might be a little more active looking at those things. So, and that's a great segue into our legislative update, if I may. Dr. Pouet, may I
Oh, please.
take the liberties? Okay,
Yes,
great.
please.
All right, so at this point in the process, the legislature, we've had the crossover and second crossover, and there are currently 4 measures that are still viable that we have provided testimony on. And so one of those originated in the House. That was HB 620. And that was the bill establishing a Braille literacy program at DOE as a state policy that does have an appropriation. And so that is still moving. The next step for all of these that I'm going to mention is to go to conference. So these 4 measures that are still viable, or I'm sorry, oh yeah, 4, will have to go to conference. Conferences have not started yet. In fact, I lie, there was one that started 17 minutes ago that was on the budget, but conferences have not been set yet for the measures that we have pending still. So that was HB 620, establishing a Braille literacy program with DOE. Next is SB 31. That's the measure that would invalidate discriminatory restrictive covenants and would provide for people to remove discriminatory covenants without liability. Next is the SB 116, which provides for civil remedies for just discriminatory reporting. So that's if someone knowingly makes a false report to law enforcement, someone could recover civil remedies for that. And if that passes, it will compel Hawaii Civil Rights Commission to work with the Department of Law Enforcement to create, to provide guidance for the public about that law, which we think is a good thing. So we supported that. And it also adds, interestingly, it adds place of birth as a protected class under that law. So which is distinct really from national origin or ancestry. So kind of interesting. And then last we have SB 1496, which is digital public accommodation. So increasing public accommodation to also encompass the digital realm, and the date of effect for that one would be July 1st, 2026 as it stands right now. So those are the 4 that are still waiting to go to conference. So there's disagreement between the 2 bodies for all 4 of those. There was also a resolution that we had provided some testimony on. That was HCR 100. That was requesting that any state harassment and discrimination training, that it would be that folks having completed that would be adequately competent in culturally specific gender identity issues that are relevant and prevalent in Hawaii. And that had a re-referral, which I believe means that it will not make it through the process at this point. So HCR 100, and there was a companion with that as well, I believe is not going to go further this session. So that's the scoop for now. So stay tuned for our next installment, which it'll be an interesting couple of weeks with conferences happening, and so we'll be monitoring those to provide you further updates in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so I see by the agenda that we have announcements and the announcement of our next meeting. So are there any announcements that anybody present or any of the commissioners wish to make?
It's already been done, but I was going to announce the return of our chief counsel,
Oh,
Connie
great.
Yonoshiro.
Yes, that's good.
Very happy to have you back.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm sure we all are. And do we want to set the next meeting for a month from now? Because I understand that the matter to be discussed in executive meeting or an executive session, it will need to come back in a month. And so that being the case, do we have an available date? in mind. I'm looking at May. And I don't know about anybody else, but that week of the 12th, whatever, through the 15th, I'm free. But pretty much all of my Wednesdays are within, or Tuesdays for that matter, are okay. Are any of the other commissioners wish to speak up about preferred dates in May?
If we're sticking to Tuesday, May 13th looks good for me.
Okay. Asima?
Oh, that's fine.
All right, well then let's go with the, it's good for me too, so there being no objection, we will set the next meeting for May 13th at 2 o'clock again.
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, now we come to the more interesting, I might say, part of the agenda, which calls for an executive meeting. I was reviewing and I have in front of me section 92.4 of the statute that provides for such meetings. And it says the board may hold an executive meeting that is closed to the public on affirmative vote taken at an open meeting of 2/3 of the members present, provided that the affirmative vote constitutes the majority of the members to which the board is entitled. So that part, what that means is we have, since we're entitled to 5 and 2/3 would be 3, and we actually only have 3, it has to be unanimous that we will be able to go into executive session. So on behalf of the commission, I move that the board go into executive meeting at this time. Is there any discussion or objection? Let's start with discussion, assuming there's no discussion. So is there any objection to the commission, the Civil Rights Commission, moving into executive meeting or executive session at this time? And hearing no objection, it is moved. And you will notice that our host has kindly provided for us to have what do you call these things again? Executive session meeting in a breakout room. So if you will please hit the join button, the commissioners will now meet in executive session.
Thank you. Do we have to stay on or do I stay on?
Technically, the meeting is still going because they'll return to report on whatever action may have been taken at executive, right?
Right. So I'll keep my
Reporting
window
should be
open.
stopped.
Right,
and
right.
They'll come back. So I'm
I
just
think
gonna turn off my audio and video for a while until
I
they,
think the recording's going.
yeah, it is. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just
So
gonna turn off my video and audio.
got it. So will I. Okay.
Okay.
See you, Connie.
Very good. Okay, Arcima's here, John's here, and I'm here. And so pursuant to the requirements of the Sunshine Act, 92-4, I am able to report that the executive meeting postponed early because it was discovered that one of the members of the commission is potentially conflicted. Therefore, yeah, yes, and therefore, even proceeding with the discussion, let alone the vote that was taken, to go into the executive meeting, are problematical. We are not going to take this up today, and we will wait until the next meeting at which we have a quorum. And so that's my report and on the executive meeting. And I would only add to today's meeting, whether it's official or not, please, let's get another commissioner and let somebody know. Actually, I heard a news story last week about another commission that was unable to meet because it didn't have quorum and has been unable to make quorum for considerable time. So I ask our executive director to please make the case that somebody be nominated by the governor at the earliest possible time, and that the confirmation hearings be expedited. And
Yes, absolutely. I will say that I'm not going to say any names in this forum, but I do understand that there's at least one person who either has applied or is intending to apply. And we are looking for anyone else who we think would be a good fit
yeah,
and encouraging them to apply as well. So yes.
Yeah.
May I clarify though? I mean,
Yeah.
Chair, you're saying that you're going to wait until there's a quorum, meaning
well, in other words, we can take
non-conflicted
this item up.
members.
We cannot take this item,
Okay.
okay, until there is another member who is
Oh,
confirmed and can then participate in the executive meeting. So it's no
okay.
point in even doing that. And we have asked our current member who has that problem to destroy all of and delete and not look at any of the materials related to this case, contested hearing case.
Okay, understood. We'll
I don't
we'll discuss this as staff after this
Yeah.
meeting, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
don't think we
appreciate
need to
that.
send a sergeant at arms over, to like in the old parliament.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
okay. All righty. Well, that being the case, it doesn't look like there's any further business to be in order, in which case, unless there's an objection, I am prepared to see this meeting adjourned. And since there is no objection because of new business, this meeting is adjourned at 2:38.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.